Let's grow together. Rev Martin.
A lot of people dream of starting their own business, being their own boss, or having a creative idea and seeing that idea come to fruition. And for most people, the idea remains just that, an idea. But for those who decide to pursue their idea, win, lose, or draw, they'll never have to say, if only I had tried. Among my most interesting friends were a couple from Wisconsin who settled in Indiana in the early 1950s. Don was an appliance salesman for Sears, and Eileen was a kindergarten teacher. Now, there's nothing wrong with either one of those jobs, but they decided that that wasn't where their passion was. So one day, Don and Eileen announced that they had both quit their jobs and were going to open a hamburger stand. Well, to their family and friends, they didn't understand at all. They were appalled. And everyone thought they'd lost their minds. How, they wanted to know, are you going to make a living selling 15-cent hamburgers? Well, not only did they make a living, but, excuse me, not only did they make a living, but their years of hard work paid off in beautiful homes, including a lovely beachfront house on Siesta Key, and extensive world travels and all kinds of creative pursuits. And how did they do this selling 15-cent hamburgers? Well, Don and Eileen were among the first 10 people on the planet to own a McDonald's franchise. And bit by bit, they expanded their operations until they owned 42 McDonald's stores in Indiana and Kentucky. And upon retirement, they sold 40 of their 42 stores to McCopco, the parent company of McDonald's. And the 2 locations they kept were right across the street from the main entrance to a major university. Practically a license to print money. Over the years, thousands of people had their first job working for Don and Eileen. Now, the former appliance salesman and kindergarten teacher didn't just get in on the ground floor of McDonald's. They were among the first to take advantage of the franchise system. Today, of course, there are many franchise opportunities available, from food service to hotels, from auto repair shops to cleaning services, and so on. Franchises have become one of the biggest sources of wealth creation for the average person in history. And among the biggest benefits of a franchise is that you don't have to do it all by yourself. Oh, it's still a lot of work, but you have all kinds of support from the franchisor, business plans and systems, products and supplies, advertising campaigns, and brand name status. Sound good? Well, imagine you were to see this ad. Franchise opportunities available. Be your own boss. No initial financial investment required. Past experience irrelevant. Success guaranteed. Unlimited growth potential. Unlimited support available 24/7. Business plans and employee training provided. Start now, begin profiting now. Equal opportunity available to all. Contact I Am Incorporated, care of the Kingdom of God. Now, does that sound too good to be true? After all, everyone knows that life is tough, that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's not what you know, but who you know. If you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, or have a disability, or didn't go to the right schools, the deck is stacked against you. And if you've not made it by now, you really don't stand much of a chance now, do you? Well, the CEO of I Am Incorporated says that's all a bunch of bunk. There have been countless people in history who proved that there is no circumstance that can keep you from being the very best you that you can imagine. So this morning, let's start by making a rather bold assumption. Let's suppose that Jesus meant exactly what he said when he stated that you can have life and you can have it more abundantly, that you don't need to worry about tomorrow because you're always provided for, that you can do the things that Jesus did and even greater things. But let's also remember that Jesus said that he could do nothing on his own, that everything he did was done in partnership with the Father, through his cooperation with Spirit. Through the franchise system of I Am Incorporated, you have the power to manifest whatever you honestly believe you should have, the things that represent your true self. But all too often we have objections to getting started on our quest. Objections like, the times are bad. Really? Have we lost sight of the fact that in the last century or so, most of us have escaped back-breaking menial labor? There's leisure time for all, not just for the rich. We have instantaneous global communications. We have free or low-cost access to information, art, music, and literature. We have same-day travel to distant places. We live in temperature-controlled environments. Our ancestors experienced times when getting enough food to survive was a challenge. Today, our challenge isn't whether we can eat, but making up our minds about what to eat. We may have lost sight of the fact that 100 years ago, the average lifespan was 41. And we've defeated the major historical plagues, polio, smallpox, scarlet fever. Very shortly, COVID-19 will join that list. Most of our current diseases are lifestyle related, and we've learned how to avoid them by practicing good health habits. Another objection, there's no money. Now, what we usually mean when we say that is that we've not figured out a way to use the money we do have wisely. I recently heard a woman call a radio talk show complaining that she didn't have enough money to send her son to the school of their choice. Well, the host started asking her questions. Did she have cable TV? Yes. Did she eat out often? Yes. Did she have this? Did she have that? Yes. In less than a minute, he identified half a dozen things that she was paying for every month that were not really that important. When I lived in Fort Lauderdale, I had a neighbor who was from Pakistan. She owned a dry cleaning business, and at any given time, her little one-bedroom apartment was home to as many as 6 people, cousins and in-laws who came to the U.S. seeking opportunity. Jesus famously said, "Seek, and ye shall find." And these people certainly proved him right. They took entry-level jobs in convenience stores, restaurants, and motels, and within a few years, most of them owned their own convenience stores, restaurants, and motels. And some of them weren't exactly spring chickens when they came here. They laughed when they heard people say, times are bad. They had learned what bad times really were back in Pakistan. We live in an opulent universe, and we're constantly surrounded by more opportunities than we'll ever have time to take advantage of in this lifetime. Another objection: I'm too old. A lot of us came to this teaching relatively late in life. I very rarely meet anyone who was raised in this philosophy. And one of the things I hear often is, I wish I had known about this teaching when I was younger. And I've even caught myself saying that from time to time. Imagine what I could have done if I had known the truth when I was in my 20s. Dr. Barbara Lundy is the Minister Emeritus of the Center for Spiritual Living in Boca Raton, Florida, a center that was founded by her parents. So she grew up in this teaching. When she was a little girl, Ernest Holmes used to come and stay at their house every week, for a week every spring. And I once said to her, Barbara, it must have been nice to be raised in this philosophy. You didn't have to grow up with all the stuff the rest of us had to put up with. And she just laughed and said, oh, it was just different stuff. Stuff happens no matter who we are. It's no excuse for not fulfilling our potential. And for all of our society's obsession with youth, we must remember that Spirit is always making all things new, regardless of what the calendar may say. Every day is a new birth. Be happy to let go of your yesterdays so you can enjoy the opportunities available to you right now. Years ago, I did a talk titled Late Bloomers, which was all about people who had achieved success in a brand new field at an age when most of us are ready to retire. And I very easily filled the half hour with their stories. And the interesting thing was that I had to leave out so many people because of time restrictions. It's never too late to begin a fulfilling new chapter in your life. We can always think of things that stand in the way of our success, but things have no power in and of themselves. They only have the power we give them. Spirit is always available to be our partner in whatever it is we wish to do. As the Apostle Paul wrote, we know that God causes everything to work together for good for those who love God. So if God is for us, who can ever be against us? God creates us and equips us with everything we need to succeed. But it's not until we go to work that we truly discover what we've been given. God did not put gold, silver, and diamonds out in plain view. They're located where we all can get them if we put in the effort. For Don and Aline, gold was found in potatoes. Although hamburgers were officially what McDonald's was about, Don always said that it was really the fries that people came for. And making those fries wasn't easy in those early years. There was no such thing as bags of frozen French fries. You had to get the potatoes, peel the potatoes, julienne them, blanch them in oil for several seconds, then let them rest for a couple of minutes, and then fry them. I knew one of the boys who did that potato job in those early days. Randy went on to become the Honorable Randall Shepard, Chief Justice of the Indiana Supreme Court. And he told me once that as awesome as his responsibilities were as the Chief Justice, they really were no important in his mind than making those fries from scratch. A rabbinical student once asked his teacher, why, if God provides everything for us, did he make wheat grow from the ground instead of making bread grow from the ground? And the rabbi replied, the reason is that God supplies us with what we need, but we must make the bread. And in this way, we share as God's partners in creation. So whatever it is you aspire to do, there's no better time to begin than right now. Franchising refers to the method of practicing and using another's system of business. The franchisor gives proven methods to the franchisee in exchange for a percentage of sales. And support services are made available to the franchisee, and the franchisee retains exclusive control over his territory. So let's take a closer look at what we're going to need in our partnership with I Am Incorporated. To get our franchise operation off the ground, we're going to need assets, ideas, plans, discipline, employees, customers, location, work, patience, and belief. Assets. Your greatest asset is you. Your lifetime job is to get to know you and to exploit your uniqueness for your success. Ideas and creativity. You are unique, and so your response to the world should be unique. You have unique opportunities to discover unique ideas. Try to remember that the next time life hits the fan. Here is a unique opportunity. Ideas, are present all the time, and they await our discovery. Thomas Edison, when asked where he got his ideas, replied, "Ideas are in the air." To which I would add, they're not only just all around you, but they're within you. And creativity is simply a matter of experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, and yes, having fun. We're going to need plans and discipline because we know that life responds to us according to the patterns we establish in mind. We must consciously develop our patterns and have the discipline to stay true to them. The word discipline comes from the same root word as disciple. It means to stay on the path. Employees and work. In I Am Incorporated, our workers are our thoughts and actions. It takes real work to monitor and regulate our thoughts. Edison said there's no expedient to which a person will not go to avoid the real labor of thinking. He also said ideas are funny things. They don't work unless you do. But Edison did not regard work as drudgery. He enjoyed it. His work was his passion. Just before he died, he said, "I never did a day's work in my life. It was all fun." What kind of thoughts would you think if you knew that everyone could see them? Well, surprise, everyone can see the general thrust and direction of your collective thinking. They can see that just by looking at your life. Location. One of the secrets of success is location, location, location. Are you building I Am Incorporated in heaven or in hell? In the valley of the shadow of death or in the city on a hill? Do you find yourself at the intersection of preparation and opportunity, at the intersection of belief and work? Your real location is always at the intersection of God and you. And speaking of location, what does your building look like? The Bible tells us that your body is the temple of God. When you look in the mirror, do you see a temple or a rundown shack? There's a saying in the chain restaurant business, make your building your sign. What they mean by that is you should be able to identify an IHOP or a Bob Evans or a Longhorn Steakhouse, even if you can't see their sign, just by looking at the building. So what kind of building are you presenting to the world? Do you look prosperous, healthy, and joyful? Or do you look run down, miserable, and exhausted? And I'm not talking about expensive clothes or high-priced salon treatments or beautiful jewelry. I'm talking about the appearance you project from within. You present a perception to people you meet because of your attitudes toward life, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs all combine to present an aura of well-being or an impression of gloom. Remember, you are a billboard for your faith. Be that a sign that says, open at the top, or stay away. There's nothing good in here. In our venture, we're going to need investment and from time to time reinvestment. I Am Incorporated requires financing. It relies upon you giving of your talent, your time, your treasure. Remember that in every area of your life, as you give, so shall you receive. And if you think about it, without giving, there can be no receiving. Prosperity and well-being of any kind depend upon circulation. Receiving without giving is really taking. And very shortly, taking without giving leaves nothing for you to take. The ancient Hebrews practiced tithing, which means giving 1/10 of one's income to the source of one's spiritual good. Other religions around the world have adopted this practice. It's a way of keeping prosperity flowing in your life. In the Old Testament book of Malachi, we find this: bring all the tithes, the 10th, into the storehouse, and test me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you so great a blessing until there is no more room to receive it. There was a young man from Missouri who in 1902 opened a general store in the small mining community of Kemmerer, Wyoming. And there, James dreamed of bigger and better things as he competed for customers with the 21 saloons in the tiny town. His business prospered, and he opened another store and then another, and he kept opening new stores until, by the 1920s, he was operating more than 1,000 stores nationwide. He was making fabulous amounts of money, and he was giving a lot of that money away to what he considered to be worthy causes. But then, the Great Depression hit, and soon James found himself worse than broke. He was $7 million in debt. And at the age of 58, he found himself having to start all over again. Physical collapse followed financial collapse. James became a very sick man. His doctor put him in a private sanatorium, assigning day and night nurses to his case. James later recalled, I didn't have the money to pay for such care. Yet I knew it would be useless to tell that to the doctor, who had known me for a long time as a man of wealth and would not be inclined to believe me, even if I could subdue my pride sufficiently to tell him about my state of affairs. In a long night of extreme physical torture, James put his thoughts into letters for his wife and children, fully expecting that when the morning came, he would be dead. But, he said, in the morning I was alive. To awaken again was a strange kind of surprise. I knew there must be a reason. What that reason could be, I had no idea, nor did there seem to be any value in straining to puzzle it out. I felt restless and apprehensive. In order to do something, anything, I got up, put on my clothes, and wandered downstairs. I felt as though an immense aloneness closed me in. Stealing softly along a corridor, I heard the thread of an old familiar hymn. Be not dismayed, whate'er betide, God will take care of you. The sound seemed to be coming from a part of the building which contained the chapel. I moved slowly toward the sound, and the music grew clearer and the words distinct. All you may need, He will provide. God will take care of you. I entered the chapel, sank down in a seat at the back. Lean, weary one, upon His breast. God will take care of you. Spontaneously I groaned, Lord, I can do nothing. Will you take care of me? In the next few moments, something happened to me. I've never been able to explain it clearly in words, and I cannot now. I believe it was a miracle. I had a feeling of being lifted out of an immensity of dark space into the spaciousness of warm and brilliant sunlight. The thought flashed through my weary mind that if I had held myself responsible for such success as I had achieved, so too was I, and I alone, responsible for all the trouble that had descended upon me. But the great thing was that now I knew God, with His boundless and matchlessly patient love, was there to help me. A weight lifted from my spirit. I came out of that room a different man, renewed. I had gone in with a paralysis of spirit, utterly adrift. I came forth with a soaring sense of release, from a bondage of gathering death to a pulse of hopeful living. I had glimpsed God. James discovered what Eric Butterworth always used to say, God doesn't have what you need. God is what you need. Well, the story of James is a true story. It's the story of a man who invited Spirit to be his partner. And he became, after that, more successful than ever before. You've all heard of him. His name was James Cash Penney, better known as J.C. Penney. Well, just as it was for James, the ultimate franchise opportunity is waiting for you. What is I Am Incorporated? Could be a business, a ministry, a musical or an artistic or literary pursuit. Whatever it is entirely up to you. Jesus said, I must be about my Father's business. And He was not talking about the carpentry business. He was on a mission, and He knew that He needed a partner. And I Am Incorporated is whatever you are called to do. We're often too scared of failure to pursue the opportunities that are right in front of us. But if Spirit is your partner in a new venture, how can it not succeed? In the words of Robert Schuller, what great thing would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? If you have a desire to achieve something, that's a divine sign that the ways and means to its accomplishment are available to you. It's been said that desire is the messenger announcing the coming of a thing that can be accomplished. And again, the good news is that you don't have to do it all, not all by yourself. You have a partner that's with you every step of the way. And it's a partnership like no other. A partnership with the only power in the universe, a power that is always ready to work on your behalf. Marianne Williamson wrote, You can let the same force that makes the flowers grow and the planets move run your life. Or you can try to do it all by yourself. Why wouldn't you accept Spirit as your partner in every aspect of your life? Trying to run the universe by yourself is frustrating, fatiguing, and futile. Everything we need for our venture is already provided, but we must allow it to manifest by knowing it's there, giving thanks for it, and allowing Spirit to lead the way. Sometime this afternoon, look up at the sun, or in the evening, look at the moon, or on your way home, stop and look at a flower. Really look as if you were seeing for the very first time, and then remember that the power that created all this is waiting for you to join in creating a masterpiece that you can proudly call I Am Incorporated. Something greater than you've ever imagined is waiting for you right now. Something greater than you've ever imagined is waiting within you right now. It's the greatest franchise opportunity ever known. So whatever your lot in life, build something on it. It is worth doing. And the CEO of I Am Incorporated says you can do it. And so it is.